Hey guys, what's going on? I'm up here late at night again, and I've been playing quite a bit today, and I think I'm ready to start making videos about my opinions on where the game itself is kind of at. So, the first thing I want to get out of the way is I want to talk about my character. So I am apparently an up player of this character. Like, a lot of smoke players just don't believe in him, and I think they're nuts. He has a lot of things going for him that are really good. But I do want to talk about a couple of changes that are buffs, but maybe more like quality of life changes that would help this character a little more, and then I think kind of future-proof him against the game. Future-proof him as in, like, he would never have to be touched for the rest of the game's life. He could stay as is, even if he's not, like, the top of the top. And he would, he'd be viable consistently. And I don't think what I'm about to suggest here is unreasonable in the slightest. So I only have 3 or 4 changes, debatably, that I would like made to this character, and then I would never ask for anything else for this character ever again. So, first thing I want to talk about is forward 1-2. So this is a plus on block high to hit string. This is a really common thing in this game to see. And, I mean, it's cool that it exists, but all he can do is check you with a down 1 off of it. Having this +2 is meaningless if you can't do that. If all you can do is this, in my opinion. And it's kind of a problem because +2 is also not enough to prevent someone from mashing on a throw attempt. So actually, I'm going to pick Raiden as my opponent to show this off. You're about to learn like a little small detail about the game that you can keep in mind for later.
Cyrax. Scorpion Cyrax. Wuxi Academy.
Okay. Gotta get the set the block. I had to get this tight to, like, illustrate my point. Okay. So, +3 in this game is the point where you cannot challenge a throw. It means that you have to duck the throw, or you have to tech it. So, as you can see here, Raiden has this +3 on block. Stand to. Now, at the very least, have to be, like, very precise with this. Right? To get this to work. If it's +4, you can never be a throw by hitting down 1. So, I think that forward 1-2 should be +4 on block. So this would allow him to both throw you, and then he wouldn't be able to quite jail you into forward 3, but he'd be able to do it close enough. Dummy not working properly. What? I think I broke training mode. What the fuck? Anyway. So, that's my first big request for this character, is if this was +1 block, he could definitely throw you. You would have to read the throw, and then he could forward 3-2 near guaranteed and be able to blow you up for, like, trying to duck the throw. And that would do a lot for him on a fundamental level, because so many of the best characters in the game can do something like that. That's like, right now, that's kind of literally what defines Johnny, almost, is that he can do that. He's constantly putting you in that situation. So, if Smoke had this, it would be a big help to him. Like, I'm not going to try to justify it any further. I'm sure there are some people who are going to say that they think that, like, I am delusional for wanting such a change, but, like, I think it would matter quite a bit to this character if he could do that. If he could enforce the low throw mix a bit harder, that would help him. The second thing I want to talk about is his armor move, Enhanced Smoke Bomb. This is the worst armor move in the game, I'm pretty sure. So, the problem with this move is that it's simply too slow. So, an example of a common armorable situation in which it's important to be able to stop this is anyone doing anything in the low hab. So, like,
Scorpion, Kung Lao.
I'm gonna show this off. So I'm gonna do like a block string and a hat, right? So the top tier characters can always armor the hat on block every time, Johnny especially. But Smoke can never take advantage of any of this shit. So, fuck, I fucked it up. So I'm gonna try to do this now. I need to set the block afterward. Okay. Completely safe to Smoke's armor attack. I don't know what you do about this, so I have two possible suggestions for this. Either one I'll take. They either need to make this faster. It's definitely not 9 frame startup. That's what the frame counter says. That's what the menu says here, obviously, but it's impossible for that to be the case. Otherwise, it would be blowing up every gap in the game. And it's not that I even want him to be able to blow up every gap, even though I think everyone in the game should be always able to do that. It's the problem that he can barely use this at all for that reason. And as a wake-up attack, it's basically non-existent. It's like easily armor breakable. Any character in this game that has a quick double-hitting normal just prevents you from waking up at all. This move is useless. To the point where I mostly try to play him under the consideration that he just doesn't have a wake-up attack, basically. Or he just doesn't have an armored option to defend himself with. And there's also a problem where this move will sometimes, if the opponent character is moving forward a lot in a string, that this will just whiff, even though it catches the armor. Like, he doesn't teleport to where the character is, he teleports to where they were at the time that you armored. And that's kind of bad. So I would make this faster. Maybe it maybe only needs to be like 3 or 4 frames faster to damage when the armor triggers, and to make it so that he always tracks immediately to where you are. That's what I would do. I would like to have a better defensive option on this character, and I think that would be very important if they could actually do that. That would help quite a bit. So, another thing, and this is a very niche thing that I just started implementing recently, is, so we know the infamous forward 4, plus say on block, triple high the jails to itself. This is like a core part of this character, by the way. Like, you have to use this button. So, interesting bit of tech I found out recently is that if you EX air teleport cancel this, you're still on the other side of +5. I just want them to shave the recovery off of this by 3 frames so that it's also +8 when you switch sides. That's all I want. And maybe you wouldn't even have to do anything about his armor attack if you give him that. Because being able to switch sides like that on block and be plus still is pretty powerful. So that's self-explanatory. I'm not going to say much more about that. What is one more thing I can think of here? So I guess the last buff that I want to talk about that I really wish this character would get is... This isn't even a buff, per se. I mean, it would be, strictly speaking. But it was a feature of the character that was actually advertised in the Combat Cast. They actually said this. I went back and reviewed it. And that is, a lot of people, they will even make use of this, right? So the way that people go invisible in this game is they do this. Like, they do something on knockdown, then they do this, or like they do... This is the most common way people get into invisibility, is this right here. Okay? But he has a more practical way to get into invisibility, which is if he just EX cancels ground to teleport, and he's invisible. So... I'm going to consider that this is not operating as intended, because in the Combat Cast, they actually said that when he goes invisible off of this, he gets a damage buff. This has kind of always been the case for Smoke, so it's kind of weird that it's not here, in my opinion. So that's like the last change I would ask for, is that you give him like a 10% damage buff for the duration of this. Especially when like this only lasts long enough for one combo with him anyway. Like I can't even finish a short B&B with this character before the invisibility wears off. So that would be kind of cool if they could do that. If they gave him the damage buff they said he would get with this. And then... That's all I can think of. I think this character is very good otherwise. I just want him to be a little more solid in terms of being able to play the game itself more universally. And I'd be happy. But I think a lot of the people who are asking for like his gaps to be removed and stuff like that are... well, I think it's kind of the laziest thing they could do. It doesn't make the game more interesting or him more interesting to get rid of the gaps. And I kind of personally like playing around the gaps and using the gaps to manipulate bad defensive habits and armoring and stuff like that. So I don't mind that. But yeah, I do kind of wish that he was a little better like that. And that's kind of what's keeping him from being a truly competitive character, because he loses to like 3 of the top 5 because of the inability to enforce the same kind of things they do on really basic situations. And then I have one more thing. It's a request for the NRS put this in, because it just feels weird to play Smoke without this. Smoke not having an air throw is the weirdest fucking thing in this game when he's always had it. And I almost feel like they intended maybe for him to have one at one point, because like his air combat strings like 2-1-1 and 3-4-4 are absolutely pointless unless this was intended to link into something once upon a time. I would kind of like them to bring the air throw back. It's like a classic Smoke thing, and I think it's just very weird that it's not here. But anyway, yeah, that's my opinion. I think Smoke is good. He's like top 15, top 10, maybe like very bottom of it. But he's definitely a top 15 character, and I think he's mostly competitive. And I think the changes I just listed would be enough to make him be able to deal with like the Johnnies and Kenshis of the game. So that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. If you're another Smoke player, I really want to know what you guys think. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later. Bye.